It was past midnight. The rain fell heavily on the roof like the sky itself was mourning. Inside the small dim living room, a man slept, exhausted from the day's struggle.
Then, suddenly, a cry, sharp, weak, persistent. He opened his eyes slowly, confused. The cry came again. He rushed to the living room and froze. There, on the old couch, lay his baby son, alone, crying, wrapped in a thin, worn cloth. "Where is she?" he whispered. His eyes searched the room frantically, but she was gone. Then he saw it, a piece of paper on the table. Shaking, he picked it up and read, "I'm sorry. I can't do this anymore. Take care of him." That was all. No name, no reason, no goodbye. The paper slipped from his hand as tears filled his eyes. That night, a man lost his partner, but a father was born. The baby cried louder, hungry, helpless, unaware. The man wiped his tears, picked up his son, and held him close. "I don't know how," he whispered, "but I will not leave you." And that was the beginning of a journey that would test everything in him. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Life became a battle. He had no experience, no help, no one to guide him, just responsibility and a promise he made in the dark. He worked any job he could find. He carried his son on his back to work, carrying loads, washing cars, fixing things, anything that would put food on the table. Some days there was no food, but the child never knew, because the father would smile and say, "I'm not hungry." At night, when the baby cried endlessly, he would walk up and down the room, singing songs he didn't fully know, sometimes off-key, sometimes in tears, but always present. There were nights he broke down quietly so the child wouldn't hear. He would sit in the corner, holding his head, asking God, "Am I enough for this child?" But every morning he stood up again. Years passed. The boy began to walk, then to talk, then to understand. "Where is my mother?" the boy once asked. The room went silent. The father knelt beside him, smiled softly, and said, "You are loved. That's what matters." The boy didn't fully understand then, but he felt it. In every sacrifice, in every tired smile, in every moment his father chose him again and again. School days came. Fees had to be paid, and they were not easy. The father sold his only valuables, worked longer hours, slept less, ate less, just so his son could have a future. The boy noticed. Oh, he noticed. He saw the worn-out clothes, the tired eyes, the silent sacrifices, and something grew inside him, a fire, a determination. "I will make him proud." Years passed again. The boy became a young man, focused, disciplined, driven by a story no one else fully knew. He studied hard, worked harder, and slowly success came. Doors opened, opportunities appeared, and the boy who once had nothing began to rise. But through it all, he never forgot. One day, on his father's birthday, he came home early, smiling, calm, but inside, emotional. "Dad, I have a surprise for you." The old man laughed softly. "What kind of surprise?" "Just trust me." He gently blindfolded him and helped him into a car. They drove in silence, the father curious, the son holding back tears. Finally, they stopped. "Are we there?" the father asked. "Yes." The son held his hand and guided him forward, step by step. "Now, open your eyes." The father slowly removed the blindfold and looked up. He froze completely. Before him stood a beautiful house, large, elegant, peaceful. The son stepped forward, his voice trembling. "This is your home." Silence. "For every night you stayed awake, for every meal you skipped, for every time you chose me." Tears rolled down the father's face. "You didn't just raise me," the son continued. "You carried me when life was heavy. You were my father and my mother." The old man could not speak. He pulled his son into a tight embrace and wept. Years of pain, years of sacrifice, years of silent love poured out in that moment. And in that embrace, everything made sense. The one who stayed when it was hardest is the one who deserves everything.